Alex, idealism, the idea that fundamental reality is mental or is consciousness, and that's the singular ultimate reality, is in the philosophical discourse today, but it's one of the oldest theories. It goes back to the Vedas and Hindu thinking, among other cultures, and has gone through Berkeley and various Hegel, and so it's had various incarnations. What's your view of idealism, particularly the idea that the only reality is the mental?
I'm sympathetic to idealism because it brings a much needed air to reconsider what's called a hard problem, because I think the hard problem is only a hard problem
of consciousness. Yeah.
The hard problem of consciousness is really hard for those who want to make it appear out of pure matter. So yes, idealism flips the starting point and says, no, everything is from the start mental. Now, this has other challenges because it now needs to explain the physical world, which is, by the way, quite miraculous. Another thing that we often take for granted, matter. And so there's still work to be done there. This movement has been pioneered or brought back to present discussion by Bernardo Kastrup, and I think this is a good thing that has happened. Now, there are some things about idealism that I maybe don't understand or I'm not very happy with, which is, for instance, the dashboard metaphor, where one says that, well, it seems to imply that the reality you and I are experiencing right now, you see me seeing you here sitting on a chair, it's not really real because there's something mediated. And I react to that. I think when I put my daughters to bed, they're the real thing, not some sort of... what I'm trying to say is that idealism sometimes seems to have a slippery slope towards illusion, like reality as an illusion.
Yeah, and that goes back to some of the Hindu schools of non-dualism. The non-dualism is a form of idealism in which the ultimate, that everything is like a dream, that it's that the whole physical world is not real at all.
True. Yes, and it can be subtle, and maybe there's a kernel of truth there. Idealism, again, I think it's good that it's on the table. I would just advise that we don't turn this into our new only option, because that would be like changing one side of the monism, everything is matter, to another side, which is everything is mind. I think maybe not a compromise, but a more elaborate. I was thinking of maybe Trinitarian approaches, because usually we have dualism and we're nervous and we want to reduce two to one. And so pick your one. I'm suspicious of dilemmas, right? So, well, why don't we go from 2 to 3? And so that would be another interesting route to seriously entertain while keeping idealism and panpsychism and even physicalism on the table.
What about idealism, whereas panpsychism has the composition problem? How do you get these little as centers of consciousness or proto-consciousness and combine together to have the consciousness that we have? That's their big problem. Idealism has the reverse. How do you take the big consciousness and then decompose it into individual minds that have separation, that there's no, if we're all part of the same consciousness, how are we independent?
Yeah, I think the way idealists try to solve that is by dissociation, isn't it? Like there's a kind of a global mind of God, if you wish, and we, each of us, is a kind of a dissociative process that has given rise to a whirlpool, perhaps, and that's who we are while we are, and then we just vanish again back into the sea of the source. Again, this is metaphorical, but that's what they would...
Well, they think that literally in terms of some of Eastern thought.
Totally. Yeah. And it's always good to inject some Eastern thought into the Western mind, no matter how difficult it is for both operating systems to really work together.